Hello everyone, here with another video for you guys. I just keep bombarding you guys with videos on the channel. Uh, for me, basically, it's just post-analysis and pre-analysis, right? I thought that if I am going to record these videos, why not just post them on YouTube? So for whoever comes across them, I hope it makes a difference in your trading and helps you understand the markets a little better. Uh, so this is a trade that I took on Australian dollar, US dollar. I call Australian dollar Aussie dollar, so do not get confused when I say Aussie dollar. I'm talking about Australian dollar when I say Aussie dollar, and well, when I'm talking about US dollar, I generally just say dollar, right? So this is a trade that I took on Aussie dollar and dollar. Uh, what I want to show you guys in this video is basically the concepts that we've been talking about for the past two or so weeks are basically the same everywhere on every time frame. So the idea of this trade comes from 60 minutes, right? So on 60 minutes you can see that there's a big seller, a new seller as we say, that got introduced into the markets, right? A new seller is introduced into the markets after all of these mess of range. So you cannot, I personally cannot sell it up here because it's still in this buyer's territory, in his playground. Cannot sell here, of course it just comes back up. Cannot sell it here because it's still above all of this. As it falls down through all of this, as we've talked about in the New Zealand dollar US dollar video, in the CAD yen pre market analysis video, uh, this also. So it's basically the same stuff that is happening over and over again, and I'll show you how the exact same stuff happens on smaller time frame too. That is exactly how I got this very precise 12.5 hour. Does not look like a massive trade, but the risk to reward on this, if you can see it, it's 12.27 hour. It does not, by the looks of it, does not look like a massive trade, right? But it's a 12.27 R. Let that sink in. Okay, so the same concept of whatever we've been discussing for the past 2 weeks or so, a new seller gets introduced into the markets, right? And then today, after Asia opened, the price starts to pull back, right? Watching it on the lower time frame as it's pulling back, it's pulling back, it's pulling. So all of this is basically a range, right? This is not a pullback. Remember that. This, hold on. This little piece right here, it's not a pullback. Does not make a higher high or a higher low, right? It's just a range. So it starts to put in higher highs and higher lows here. This buyer buys, goes all the way up to there, pulls back, puts in a higher low, goes higher. A little bit of a pause, goes higher all the way up to there, pulls back, higher high, comes all the way back down, no higher high, no higher high. If I take you to 3 minutes per se, so this is basically the last buyer. Let's just clear all of this stuff again. Okay, this is basically the last buyer that goes for a higher high, tries to hold, cannot hold, falls back down. But I personally, in hindsight, I could have traded it here with my stop loss up here, but the fear of what if this buyer is gonna stay true and go for a higher high, right? So it starts to range, it starts to go sideways. Best entry obviously up there. But the reason why, the main reason why I did not sell it up here is because it's all just one pullback, right? Everyone is still looking to sell this. Although the pullback comes in pretty steep and all the buys, but people are still looking to sell this from all of this data, right? And that is the reason why I did not sell it up here, because what if this buyer is true and it's going to continue to go higher? And now let me show you the exact same thing on 3 minutes that happened on 1 hour. The exact same thing. So if you go to 3 minutes, in the process of all of this ranging activity, where if you say this is the last buyer who bought for a higher high and is still holding and holding, what happens here? Just falls all the way back down, a lower low. So what I am looking for, if you remember what we saw on 60 minutes a little while ago, it's the exact same thing, just on 3 minutes, right? Now, I'm going to blow your mind, and I'm going to take you down to 15 seconds. Now, as this lower low has happened, the time is during Frankfurt about half an hour before London Open. Uh, about 20 minutes before London Open, the price starts to pull back. Right now, back in the head, we know who is in control of this present market right now. Right, from the 60 minutes, it's a seller. From the 15 minutes, it's also a seller. And now the 3 minutes is also under the influence of a seller. Now, as this move has happened, I'm down to 15 seconds. And once again, the exact same thing happens. Now, as the price comes up in all of this area, let's just get rid of all of these brushes. Okay, starts to buy, pull back, buy, higher high, equal low, higher high, higher low, buys from here, goes all the way up to there. So because we're reading the pullback on such a small time frame, so you got to pay attention to the minute details of it, right? Buys from here, higher low, higher high, holds, 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 holds. Where is it holding? It's holding exactly where in this process of uh, buying is trying to buy again, someone would have bought in here and they got wrong footed miserably, right? Just get, I mean, I like using different terminology for it, but because this is, I mean, people of all stature and all age groups would be watching this probably in a while, so I'm not going to use the exact term that I like to use. Maybe in the private webinars or such, but comes exactly to where the last bit of buying would have happened in this process of you've faked out, you've held, you've held, you've held, you should go higher. Someone would have bought, got wrong footed. Now if you go down to 15 seconds, once again the exact same thing is going to happen here. So as the price gets up to here, let's just get rid of the brushes again and bear with me for a little while. There we go. As the price gets all the way up to here, holds, 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 buyer buys, fails, puts in a lower high, attempts a lower low, goes all the way back up to there, cannot make a higher high, comes all the way back down again, puts in a lower high, and this is where the entry was taken. So again, the exact same thing is being repeated over and over again. Stop loss just above this, because if my sell is valid, the price should not go higher than this. Now, the reason why I took 90% of my positions out at 12.27 R is because if you take a look at the higher time frame, I'm expecting another push from it. I'm leaving 10% of what was taken to run, expecting the price to go all the way down to there, but I've made so I risk about 0.5% on this, did not even risk a full percent, risked about 0.5% on this, and as it's 12.27 hours, so I've made more or less 6% on this already. 6% on this smaller move. It's not a huge move, but it's about precision. It's about knowing what entity is in control. So what I expect this to do is another set of pullback, where again the concept that we talk about over and over again, where your 60 minutes is a seller, 15 minutes turns into a buyer. And as it turns into a buyer, then I go down on lower time frames, preferably want to see 3 minutes turn into a seller, and then tests to it for it to go lower. This is what I expect on it. It could continue to go lower again, but this is what I would like to see on this. Today, tomorrow, does not matter. I just hope this does not happen during Asia, because that is when I'd be asleep. Anyway, just wanted to spill a little bit of more knowledge about, you should be able to figure out and know what entity is in control of the markets at what time. Cheers. Stay tuned for more.